Oriire funo, good tidings to you. I pray that you are feeling awake, aware, and elevated in mind, body, and spirit, wherever you are, and whatever may be happening around you. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. I'm Baba Umar, Oluranse Emese, voice of the MSA, member of the Isoro Traditional Council of Chiefs in Ile-Ife, Nigeria, Oluwo of the House of Umar, and Babalao of Ile-Ife Orisha, the House of the Mysteries of the Orisha. Oriire, abundant blessings to our Egbe, our online community of subscribers that continues to grow thanks to you. Thank you for joining us for another lesson. Remember, as a member of our Egbe, our YouTube Egbe, you can support each other's spiritual journey by posting your questions and uplifting comments in the comment section below. You can also email me using the link in the description below if you need to contact me on a more personal matter. Also, check the community section of this channel for periodic messages from me. If you're new to these video lessons, we invite you to go ahead and click that subscribe and notification button and share this resource with your family, friends, and associates. You never know whose life you may change by that simple act of sharing. Homage to the one who sends and to those who are sent. Homage to Orisha and Egun. Our topic for this video is, are the ancestors really that powerful? We've already discussed ancestors and ancestor worship in several videos. Not that we will ever really exhaust that topic. Several years ago, I was invited to give an introductory presentation on Ifa, the spiritual tradition of Orisha and ancestor worship. The venue was a small storefront interfaith gathering. During my talk, I mentioned the fact that I was taught we should first carry our problems and concerns to our Ori, then to our Egun, our ancestors, and then to our Orisha. We should acknowledge the feminine matriarchal principle first in the case of both Egun and Orisha, because it is the feminine, the matriarchal principle, that is the essence and executor of Isopo connectivity. And we've talked about Isopo in the last couple of videos, so if you're not familiar with that term, please go back and check those earlier videos. I also mentioned in that presentation that our Egun can intercede in our affairs and can often respond in ways that the Orisha cannot. A woman in the audience, paying close attention to the topic, exclaimed, "Wow, are ancestors really that powerful?" My response was, yes, I think they are. So let's you and I consider that idea in this video lesson. Ifa says that our Ori is our God, and that nothing can happen unless our Ori permits it. So Orisha cannot act towards us in any way that is not sanctioned, if not supported, by our Ori. In Eji Ogbe Meji, the first Odu of the sacred oracles of Ifa, it speaks of the elevated status of Ori. Aboru aboye, I quote, "A loud sound is heard when an object falls down. Cast divination for the blacksmith of the ocean called Ori. Ori created Oya in Ira. Ori created Shango in Koso. Ori created Orishanla in Iranje. Oriire created Ogun in Ire. Oriire created Eshu-Odara in Ketu. Oriire created Oshun in Ijumu. Oriire created Orisha Oko in Agba Irawo. Oriire created Egun in Oje. Oriire created Iyami in Ota. Oriire created Orunmila in Oke Igeti. Oriire created me in joyful abode. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. So this Odu is saying to us, it is Oriire that shapes and determines our destiny. Note, it is our choices that determine our fate, the consequence of our choices. There's a Ifa saying, Ohun Oriire wase komani salahi se'eo. What Oriire comes to fulfill, it cannot but fulfill it. So Orisha cannot override the will of our Oriire. Their role in the life of the human being is to support the will of our Oriire, the carrier of our destiny, our spiritual Oriire. Further, we choose our Orisha before we come into the world. They're here, yet we bring them with us as part of our Ashe Ami, our energy signature. Even before we have our birthing Odu reading, even before we have a reading to determine our crowning Orisha, they're already in our life from the time of our birth because we bring them with us. We choose them on the other side and we bring them with us into the world, and they're interacting with us even though we may not be aware of it. It is through our Ashe Ami that we can achieve Isopo, connectivity with the spirit world. We can call on Orisha. We can supplicate Orisha. Orisha can even possess us if our Oriire permits it. But there exists a more intimate and powerful relationship than possession. It is the relationship of lineage, of blood. All the genetic memory of our ancestors, dating back to the beginning of human existence, is in your and my blood, in our flesh, in every cell that becomes a part of our Ara Ojubo, our body temple, our Eya Tiaye, our earthly body. It's in our DNA. It's in our RNA. An entire library of information that can be tapped into, hacked, accessed, when we are in the vibration of Isopo, connectivity, between physical Oriire and spiritual Oriire, and the dimension we call the spirit world. Each of us is a walking, talking, living expression of the history of our ancestors' experiences. They share a special connection and a certain interest in our journey because we are living our part of a legacy. The poet Khalil Gibran said in his book, The Prophet, quote, "Our children come through us, not from us." So from an Ifa perspective, we might ask, what or who is coming through? And what is it that is being passed down from one generation to the next? Let me simply state for now that whatever it is that is being passed down, it is eternal, expansive, and expanding. And each of us has a part to play in that continuing process of transformation, this transformational journey, each of us is a part of that. We might even say that Orisha are here to support the will of our Ori, and we are here to fulfill and continue the legacy of our lineage, our Egun, our ancestors. We might also say that when Orisha look upon humans, they see the other. But when Egun look at humans, they see themselves. The distinction being made here is that our Egun are rightly the second to whom we should turn after our own Ori, because we share a common interest, fulfilling the legacy of our lineage that has and will continue to be passed down and expressed through each of us. We each get to choose the direction and path that legacy will take into the future, and we, our children, and their descendants will live the consequence of those choices, for better or for worse. We are of two interrelated, interconnected, and interdependent realities, the substantial and the insubstantial. We cannot escape living in both. We can only fool ourselves into believing that we have succeeded in choosing one over the other. In Ifa, it is understood that as with logic and intuition, the rational and the non-rational, the linear and the non-linear, were given to us to use and to use together. To Ifa, the singular excesses of materialism are as unintelligent as the singular excesses of spirituality. To use only one half of our capacity, either half, is to play at life with half a deck. From its inception, Ifa has been based on an undeniable pragmatism. That is, Ifa believes, we believe in results. If Ifa does not produce, if it cannot produce, there's no reason for us to be a part of it. That's why we say, Ifani ba woaiye shishe. Ifa is how the universe works. Ifa does not fail any more than the universe fails. Through its ancient rituals and prayers, Ifa shows us that it is not only permissible, but imperative that we use our spiritual capacities to favorably influence our everyday lives. We do this through ancestor worship, divination, and tapping into the supporting powers of the Orisha. I think the following story that comes to mind that I read in a book titled The Way of the Orisha helps to answer the question, are our ancestors really that powerful? I really like this story. It's a beautiful story. I'm quoting. I was in the midst of preparing a paper on some of the histories that comprise the sacred Odu, when I suddenly could not remember one particular story. The paper was due in just 3 days. In your country, you might pick up the phone and call someone to find the information. But in truth, these facts were not known, were known only by my father, who lived in Lagos, and my deceased grandfather. At that time, Nigeria still did not have phones in many of the individual homes. So contacting my father prior to the presentation of my paper would be impossible. Unless I restructured my entire lecture, I would have to find the missing history. So I called my grandfather in our way. I used our ritual of ancestor worship to convey to him that I needed his help. Remember now, this is his deceased grandfather. Continuing. The next night, I awakened from a sound sleep to see my grandfather sitting on the edge of my bed. "What is the problem, Fallow is his name?" he asked. I explained my situation, and he instructed me to get a pencil and paper that I keep near my nightstand. He proceeded to give me the information I had forgotten. When he was finished, I expressed my love and gratitude to him, and he expressed his to me. I fell back into a deep sleep. The next morning, I awoke with vague memories of the night before, but they seemed more dreamlike than real until I glanced at my nightstand and saw the writing there. Then I remembered my grandfather's visit. I was able to quickly complete my paper and give a thorough presentation to my class. End quote. Did you get it? Or did you miss that? Let me point it out again. He says, when he was finished, I expressed my love and gratitude to him, and he expressed his to me. Fallow expressed his love and gratitude to his grandfather, and then he states that his grandfather expressed his to me. His what? His love only? I think not. I think Fallow was clearly stating that his grandfather expressed both his love and his gratitude to Fallow. And that begs the question, why would his grandfather be expressing gratitude to Fallow? And why did he come and provide the only means for Fallow to fulfill the will of his Oriire? It is because our ancestors have a vested interest in our success in carrying forward the ashe of our legacy and lineage. In Ifa, we have a saying, Ohun gbogbo tiabase laye la okunle relorun. That which we do on earth, we shall account for in heaven. This proverb is not talking about hellfire and brimstone, punishment, or about some divine wrath through endless torment in hell. No. This proverb instructs us that our life and our choices are not to be taken lightly and not without regard to the legacy of lineage and our Isopo connectivity to our Egun. Through ancestor worship, Ifa allows you to experience life as a continuum. And once you have experienced it, nothing will ever be the same. The same kind of attitude change and life changes that have affected nearly every individual who has had or gone through what we call near-death experience, who has experienced the other dimension and then been brought back, testifies to the effect of this knowledge. One does not have to die to be brought back to experience it. Ancestor worship is our connection to the past and our roadmap to a better future. When we learn to connect with our ancestors, we come into the full awareness, the full consciousness of the fact that death does not end life, that life proceeds from this dimension into other dimensional realities. That knowledge changes our entire journey in the Loja. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. May Olofi-dumare, Oriire and Egun bestow on you guidance, wisdom, and abundant blessings. Ifo Kanbale, peace of mind from Olofi-dumare. Ajo Lo, Ajo Bo. We go out together, we return together. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo.